So good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me and Matt Payne. We're live here in the Full Speed Event Studios, in the old Beer Cellar Studios. Another day, another broadcast, and it is the Donny Chaingang live on Zwift, live on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. And it's the first ride of April. Not the 1st of April, thank goodness, otherwise this could be a very entertaining evening indeed on trikes or similar. We have the Innsbruck KOM as our route. We have as our yellow beacon Jimmy Allen, because Russ just taking the insurance of making sure that Jimmy was our beacon. We're just doing some double checks on everything, but it looks like Jimmy down on the line, and we can grab a quick word with him before we start tonight's ride. Jimmy, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, looking forward to this. Great classic course as usual. Last month was the Donny Chaingang, so yeah, choosing all the best ones, I think, aren't we?
It's a bit of a greatest hit stroke. These are Russ's favourites. Apart from he's put you on the hilliest route of the entire month, pretty much, with this one.
He's got previous, hasn't he, though? Keeps on saying he's going to buy me a beer, but I keep waiting.
I think you might have to get to the end of April before that's going to happen. It is a route that probably needs a beer at the end of it, to be brutally honest, because it's a tough one, isn't it? And the leg snapper that we use 3 laps of initially is hard enough, but going to be very, very tough once we go up onto the King of the Mountains.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough course, a tough racing course, and that last climb, 20-minute threshold session. And to make it even worse, who knows, he's invited his mates around to beat us all up as well. He's invited Chris Lawless. So we're up against it tonight.
Well, Chris is a class act, but the youngsters are moving. What we've just got to hope is that he's actually just too busy trying to respond to all of the banter and all the abuse he's getting online at the moment, which is quite entertaining.
Yeah, I could just see commenting saying he's too busy for the pub. Never too busy for the pub. 5 o'clock somewhere.
Definitely, I think that's just an excuse. You never know. Maybe he was just being busy on the way up on the train and coming back from London from the Rocket Espresso. Big route, big climb. Everyone's sticking together until that go. We will see where that goes. We'll try and grab hold of you somewhere on this circuit that's flat. Not that anywhere particularly is flat. I reminded myself on just how hilly it was today, actually, on the recce of the route, and I thought I was quite glad I wasn't riding, to be honest, tonight. Yeah,
we'll work something out. Like I say, I'll throw a few curveballs in as usual. You know, keep people on the toes. We'll see. Good fun.
Promises. That's what we like. Yeah, excellent stuff. Cheers, Jimmy. We'll catch you soon.
See you later.
So great to catch up with Jimmy. Let's dive straight into the map. Most people know where we're heading. Innsbruck KOM after party. Our yellow beacon, Jimmy Allen. Red beacon, Andy Singleton. Well, riders going to head out from the pens and then go underneath the standard gantry. 3 full laps of the Innsbruck ring, which is 8.8k each lap. We then head from the lap gantry onto the climb and climb up to the King of the Mountains Arch. Just another 10.6k, which gives us a total of 37.4 kilometres. And the warm down a long one tonight, basically allowing everybody to roll all the way pretty much down to the bottom. Total elevation, 640 metres. So if we jump across from our Zwift Hacks map over to the profile, this illustrates really clearly exactly just what our riders have in store. As you can see, the blips on the way round. We have the drag up over the bypass. That comes at 3k. As we come in to 5k, we hit the base of the climb of the leg snapper, and that's the little kick that comes in at 5k. It also comes in at 13.5 kilometres, also at 22.5 kilometres, before we then head out and that climb up. Now we have a ramp up to the roundabout, which is at 30 kilometres, and then onto the KOM proper. As you can see from the Innsbruck KOM from Velavio, this graphic shows you quite graphically exactly where it's tough, exactly where you've got to go hard, and exactly why this is regarded as one of our toughest courses on the Donny Chaingang. And of course, Russ being in charge of the routes this month, has picked a whole load of routes that he absolutely loves riding. So it looks like the gang heading out in onto lap number 1. We're going to dive in with the riders. So let's dive in live to the Donny Chaingang live on the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel. So welcome to the Donny Chaingang live with me, Matt Payne, on the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel. We are heading out at the moment from Innsbruck, heading around the town, and we've gone straight out from the pens in to the circuit known as the Innsbruck Ring. This the 8.8k circuit that includes the leg snapper climb. It's got the sprint a little bit set back. In addition to that, we also, of course, then finish our 3 laps off and head into the KOM, the after party, going up on to the top of the KOM arch. Now, the riders already heading out. Our red beacon sweeping from the back of the group, the yellow beacon controlling at the front, and in case you missed the run in, don't forget that the riders heading out under the charge of our yellow beacon, that is Jimmy Allen. Russ on the ride, managed to make it back from the big smoke in time to jump on the ride, but not to do all the prep. So Jimmy in charge and making sure that everybody comes on board. Now, the gang are just getting themselves together. Just seeing 1 or 2 of our riders just dropping out. Looks like Tim Cooper with a bit of a tech issue there. Just got to start picking the pace up. Simon Runnett also off the back. These two definitely got the pace and power to come back. Looks like Tim with definite tech issues there. Looks like that's an unclip. If in doubt, don't forget, if you are having issues on the way through, then make sure that you dive off, restart. We have a late join up to 30 minutes, and you can usually tell because you're getting left behind, say, at 3 watts per kilo late. Mr. Sadler is there. So at the moment, the gang looks like Chris Idell. Chris, of course, on the way back from COVID and back to his best riding for the Wahoo Lacol squad here. Tucked on. An interesting choice of helmet, it has to be said. Definitely not going to win any prizes for style with that, with the potty on your head, mate. So it looks like Tim Cooper just trying to charge his way back on. We've got Mr. Pearson and Raccoon late joiners. Going to be no doubt dropping straight in to the ride, and just heading out across the change in the map and on to the long drag. Now, as I mentioned on the pre-show before the ride here, this circuit, one that I've actually been out and ridden today. I've been out and also ridden Thursday circuit as well. Made sure that I could remember just how tough it is, and I've got to say, this part, the section up the bridge, is definitely going to be very entertaining, because this is the little drag that takes us up before dropping down towards the cobbles. A 2% drag can definitely do enough damage on the group. And just having a quick check through all of our riders on here. Jimmy Allen in the role of that yellow beacon in his familiar Mondrian strip. Standard kit for Jimmy in terms of the bike, but interestingly, Jimmy Allen has changed wheels. Dum dum dum! He's gone for the monocycle lightweights. We may have to just quiz him on that a little bit later on in the ride, but Jimmy going for something a little bit lighter for that long climb at the end, and of course the leg snapper as well. And that leg snapper definitely tough stuff. Now, just going to take a little bit of a look. Neil Moore just dropping off the back. He's definitely got the power to come back on. Tim Cooper is charging his way back on. So if you're feeling strong, feel free to drop back and give Tim a hand. He's the man who keeps all of our tech rolling. Spent a lot of time variously looking at our computer systems here in the studio with Tim and making sure everything's rolling for the Donny Chaingang. You'll say a big thank you to Tim. He's an absolute star in looking after all the kit. Interestingly, again, gone for Manstein lightweight. So, lightweight frame, lightweight wheels. Looking to keep himself in touch on the climb. So, Tim just sort of working his way to get in. As Jimmy Allen says, our riders should be dropping off the back if they want to chase on now. This is what we love to see. Andy Singleton, really communicative. Great to see our red beacons. He always talks to the people at the back. Do you need a hand? Do you want people to come back in? Jimmy sticking our yellow beacon at 2.5 watts per kilo initially. And Tim Cooper powering his way on here at 3.5, nearly 4.5 watts per kilo. I'm sure I just saw it come from Tim there. So definitely looking like he's motoring at the moment. Getting a ride on, we'll be dropping one of those as well. So let's get another one dropping down. There we go. That's our ride on Tim. Just, I think he's breathing too hard to be able to reply at the moment. It looks like Mr. Woodall in there. Looks like we've got George Cooper just tucked in there. Dan Coleman working back just to give a little bit. And this is, as we know, a trail of breadcrumbs. Well, looks like Mr. Lawless just dropping back to maybe stretch his legs back on to the front. You can see Chris back on the Chaingang once again. And Chris Lawless, of course, absolutely top class. So let's see, Mr. Lawless just dropping back the red beacon, rolling his way on. Tim Cooper still sitting at 16 seconds, so that's a fair old distance. So Cooper really having to work hard. He's got them in his sights now. Andy Singleton's going to be the first rider he's going to pick up on the way through. So our beacon just waiting at the moment. Singleton just up the road. You can just see Tim coming behind Andy at the moment. Now remember, we have Jimmy Allen, the Wolf, known as the Wolf for his shrewd and very unpredictable behaviour when it comes to letting the yellow beacon go. Definitely a rider who can test everybody because he doesn't make it simple for people. Now, looks like Chris Lawless and Tom Lindley just waiting for Tim Cooper. Tom Lindley, of course, one of the products of the Donny Chaingang, a rider who's taken his first win and on a really tough day without a mountain top finish. In fact, it was the descent on the way down with a fantastic sprint finish. Will it be his day today, finishing at the top of the Innsbruck KOM. Now onto the leg snapper we go. We'll just keep an eye on these riders just at the back. Andy Singleton just rolling in now. What you will find is that this is going to split as we go over the very top. This is all about making sure that this gang tries to stay together. And it's all about being able to modulate your power, not put too much pressure on those pedals too early. As we see Mr. Singleton just rolling his way up to the back of the bunch. And if you want to go harder, then the way to do it is to just drop off the back of the group and come back on. Andy again going for those Manstein lightweights. Lots of the carbon fibre wheels on the game. The lightest, best climbing wheels available. Interestingly, that Chris Idell on some deep wheels there. So is Chris Sadler. Looks like Mr. Woodall's gone light. Seeing some one or two Tron bikes, but the Tron, of course, although it's the best all-round bike on the game, it's definitely not the best climbing bike. You can gain substantial amounts of time. If you want to work out how much time, make sure you go on to Zwift Insider. The Zwift Insider website, one of the key sources of information for everybody from commentators like myself right the way through to riders, racers, team officials, as well as race organisers. It gives us a whole gamut of markers to look at when we're putting the courses together. How fast will people go on certain sections, where the splits are, what does it ride like, Also great for keeping up with all of the updates as well. Now, Daryl Tashawal just having a little bit of a break. We're going to just jump in with Jimmy here, and we're going to send the... I think our helicopter's probably not going to be able to get a decent view. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop our drone down. It's just focused in on Jimmy Allen. Now, as our riders come up to the top, 7% at the moment on the way up here. We've been climbing. It's a substantial kick up here, but watch what happens as we go over the top, just like we see in London regular, just like we see on a lot of the ones with the kickers. You can see those gaps have opened up. They were only a matter of a few centimetres. They've now extended to metres, and the gaps that were fractions of a second are going out to several seconds, and that is where things get very, very twitchy indeed, because that is where the gaps open. And now you can see our red beacon's got some work to do to even just close onto the back of the main group. Remember, this group now fractured. If you look at the top right hand side of the map, the gap spreads right out all the way through and round this next right hand turn. This right hand turn does exactly the same thing as well. We see another split here as we go in and round onto this turn. Our drone just hopping through the buildings at the moment. If we take a little bit of a look back from Jimmy here, you can just see plenty of bodies just rolling about, and the gaps opening up. It is all key. Remember, it's about now the regroup will start. So the call out from Jimmy Allen to bring it back to yellow. We're just rolling up above Jimmy at the moment as he steadily makes his way in. You can just see from the map at the top, if we pull that down, it's a long train at the moment, and that'll soon start to reform. In fact, if you look at the top of the group, you can just see those dots condensing and compressing down, and that's brilliant. So we're just watching that just to roll back in and get itself back together again. Now, if we go over the top nice and steady, I think we'll be seeing a little bit of a run through. Interesting, Tom Lindley just stretching his legs. He went right off the back of the group. Great to see. Then Tom Lindley takes that time without going off the front of the group, and that's how to ride it. Start way back and then start to accelerate. Now, we're just going to take a little bit of a run back. Looks like Tom Hager just having to squeeze. Tom, one of the riders who will be right up in the mix later on, and just squeezing his way back into the group. A couple of 100 metres behind the group. So Tom trying to squeeze his way up there. Looks like Andy just dropping off the back to go give a hand. Tom's coming at 5.3 watts per kilo. You have been warned, Andy. He's coming absolutely flying at the moment. Well, you can just see in the distance as we go underneath the funicular railway, the yellow beacon already starting to head down the straight in the opposite direction. And as Dale has been saying, it'd be interesting to see if we can get the gang over. Now to Tracy Seeley in there, and it looks like Tracy, the Terminator 2.0 in there. Now it looks like Chris Lawless offering a lead out to people as he makes his way in and along. Just watching Chris Idell just dropping back to give Tom a hand as well. Great to see these strong riders helping each other as riders off the back. So Chris now, I'm sure we'll see kicking on as he moves its way up. So this is the back of the pack now starting to kick on and push in towards the way through. Now, Optional Sprint through next time through the green, so it's going to be about getting back behind the gang. We've got Chris Lawless on the Chaingang at the moment, so Jimmy's going to be staying at 2.5. So the gang at the front hopefully just starting to reform, and in fact if you just take a look you can see Jimmy's got them all under control. They're back together again. This is what we want, and as we say, it's all about pulling from the back if you are a sprinter coming back in. So let's try and catch up with Jimmy. Should, in theory, be on the other end of the line, and we'll try and get hold of him. See, see what he's got planned, because we are one lap in already, and sounds like he's already making plans for next time round. Jimmy, how are you? It's looking pretty smooth.
Brilliant, mate. There's only one problem. I've got my fan on number 1. I need it on number 3. So other than that, perfect. Yeah, a bit warm.
I know.
But yeah, we'll have a sprint next lap. And I say we'll try and keep it. It's going to be difficult to keep it, but if people are well behaved and let me sort of go over the top, it'll be fairly close. And if people want to sprint from the back, just sprint through everybody, and that should work pretty well. But yeah, I mean, just seeing it regroup is perfect, isn't it?
It does. The regroup is fantastic. I mean, we've just seen it all compressed down, and just watching Tom Hager making his way on there. I think Andy Singleton just keeping an eye on Chris Idell, who's just off the back. I think Chris on his way back from illness, and usually a bit more talkative on his way through. But Andy Keyworth just pushing in, and the group regroups nicely. We are going to see, though, if that sprint comes up, it is really hard. But we have gone over the top. We've seen you do it before on tops of Box Hill, pulling it right together and literally going over the top with a blanket, pretty much. Yeah,
that's the aim, isn't it? Like I said, we've done it on Lethal a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Was it Lethal? Yeah, Lethal.
Yeah.
So if we can do it on there, I'm sure we can do it on the leg snapper. And like I said, if we can just roll over the top, I mean, you just saw it last lap, it always splits on that downhill, doesn't it? Just there's a slight gap, then it just sort of strings out. But I think we can definitely do it. I mean, because it's just come back really quickly on the other side, and then we can sort of build up to the finale. So yeah, I'm sure we'll manage it.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure we will, and we've got Chris Lawless on tonight, so going to be interested to see how his legs are at the moment and how Russ's are. So he's been sat on a train for several hours today.
Yeah, they've been giving each other some banter, haven't they? And Chris has broken his collarbone, I believe. So he, I don't know if he's going to be able to give it full beans or whatever, but I'm sure he, if he puts 8 out of 10 effort in, it's probably still good enough to get it. Like, but two of the Yorkshire winner and all that, and sprint jersey winner. So yeah, I would imagine if he gives it full gas. But again, don't rule that Russ Downing. He's half decent as well. He got a bit of a kick.
Well, he was.
Don't forget that.
I'm not sure now. He's a dad now, and he's not getting much sleep, and he's been on a train, and he's having to sort everything out. It'll be really interesting to see whether we are going to get the racing excuses coming out from the pair of them, or whether they're just going to enjoy the banter. We will see. But
don't believe a word of it. No. Don't believe a word of it. I've been out with him a couple of weeks ago, and he had a cigar on. He was going well, put it that way, well enough. Not as well as he used to, obviously, but still good enough to kick a few backsides. So yeah.
I think so. I think that's going to be definitely the case. And we saw that, let's face it, when we went out and went up over the Epic, dropping down the far side and then into the Jungle 4 Gritty Week only last week. So really interesting to see Russ there. And then rolled by Tom Lindley, young Tom Lindley as he was then, and not anymore. Not allowed to call him that anymore.
Yeah.
We did promise not to call him young Tom Lindley once it's happened, and that fortunately was in the past. So the moment he crossed the line, he became just Tom Lindley. Maybe that's just Tom Lindley instead of young Tom Lindley. Might be the new one. We didn't say we wouldn't call him.
I've been busy. Is he on tonight?
Is
Tom
indeed.
on tonight? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've been busy texting him messages, so you don't see half the messages. So apologies, but yeah.
Indeed.
It'll be good seeing him up there.
He's got the green jersey at the moment. He rolled right off the back of the group and then sprinted in from the back and still didn't go past the middle of the group, actually, in the sprint. So did that with a nice, sneaky push up there. So be very interesting to see whether he can take that up against the competition as we go through. Just Tom Lindley lined up in the group. So looking very, very smooth as well. And we've got very interesting. We've got Tracy Seeley in again, and Tracy, of course, absolute monster, riding I think pretty much every chain gang we ever put on. Yeah,
she got the sprint last time, didn't she? Was it last time or a couple of weeks ago? I can't remember.
Yeah, took the
fastest
female in the same time when Tom took his win as well. And Yeah, guaranteed to be quick, but will she be quick enough to take away that green jersey tonight? Because there have been some fast events actually on the course, as well as some slow people like me going out and doing a recce on the course earlier. Cool. All right, it's moving well. We'll let you get back to it because we're on the track and it could well break up. I think you're going to be, I'd imagine, busy briefing them ready for the run through the cobbles and into Lake Snapper.
Yep, all hands on deck. Sprint from the back if you want a good time. Let's do it.
There you go. The wolf has spoken. Let's see who's listening. Right, Jimmy, you're all done and dusted. The gang are briefed. Hopefully, if you've been listening, if you're watching, well, let's see whether that translates in reality. We have the gang nicely together, and looks like Russ just poking his nose out in the breeze. I'm not sure he's feeling all right going out there and pushing on at the front, but looks like he's just getting a little bit of airtime on the front, knowing that he's not going to be in the front on the climb, but you never know. Don't discount him. You saw that fantastic performance from Russ when we were on the top of the epic KOM in Watopia. That's only last week. I've got to say a massive thank you to Gritty for the Gritty Flanders week. Amazing to see the riders in action on that, and an amazing Flanders this weekend. If you haven't watched it, please do. Make sure you give it a watch back. You can pick it up on pretty much any of the digital subscription channels and so on. It is definitely well worth a watch, particularly once you get into the last 3 laps of the circuit, last 70k or so. Quick reminder. Please remember, guys, if you are joining the DCG gang, you need to do so pretty sharp. It is the last month of the spring season, and that means that we have just been advised, and it's just gone out to the members, in fact, that there's an extra 10%, making 20% discount on Gritty kit this month for April. So Gritty kicking that off with the Gritty a week last week, and all this month 20% off. And then joining the gang with OTE with 25% off OTE products. We've got 20% off Velo Skin products, 10% off Halo wheels. Support from 1080, of course. So you got 10% off the Grand Tour coffee. So last month, loads and loads of discounts, and that extra discount from Gritty. An extra 10%, meaning a total of 20% off, so a fifth off everything except for the sales stock, which is also up and running. So remember, guys, make sure you get on there. Support the people who support the DCG gang. Those discounts available to anybody joining the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, because remember that the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club is how we keep the whole show on the road, not just the coverage, but also, of course, the time spent in putting the rides on, checking out the routes, doing all the recce's, making sure the tech rolls, or making sure we pay the phenomenally expensive electricity bill for all of the tech that is rolling. We do try and keep it to a minimum, try and be environmentally friendly, and of course we do have 100% green energy as well, so we are looking to make sure that we have the kit as environmentally friendly as possible. Now, looks like the Gritty gang are going to be up at the National Mountain Bike Series this weekend. That's kicking off this weekend up in Tong. I'm not going to be there. Apologies for not being able to do that. Not getting that contract because I couldn't do the entire series. However, already booked up for all the rest of the dates, so not too bad. And got to say, more live e-cycling streaming. You may well have worked out where I was last weekend. Now, here we go. The gang up on to the top. No need to panic, I promise. This is about being able to modulate that power. I'm going to try and avoid going on Muppet Watch. No matter that. No, we said we could do. I could do at least 4 of them, and In fact, Emma, who's commentated on a lot of the esports stuff and a lot of the Zwift racing and some of the live stuff for us as well, was going to do the rest. But they've gone with two of the people who are there doing some other roles as well. So good luck to them. Enjoy the mountain bike series. Not going to be there. And I'm not even going to be there supporting because Emma is going to be recovering from COVID. In fact, booked up for the gigs on Sunday anyway. Now, this is where it's all about, hanging at the back, not going to man. Craig Genther at the back. Just keeping a little bit of an eye on these guys at the back because it is really, really difficult. If you've got your bike set up to go over the top, it can be really, really tricky. Russ went with a single ring. Why? It's a big, great climb. Now, aim is to try and stay behind Jimmy Allen. You can freewheel, guys. It is possible on the bike. Freewheel on the uphill. Guess what will happen? You won't go off the front. Now, let's get a view up over the top of the gang. Let's take a little bit of a look with the top here. So we've got about 4 or 5 on the front and they're just going to start to stretch out. It looks like the majority of the gang are just rolling well. So you can just see those gaps going out, so not pedalling over the top is going to be key. And you just see that gang just stream away down as we go from going up at an 8% gradient to going down at an 8% gradient. Now, regrouping is going to be key. If you want a fast time, there is one place to be, and that is going to be down by the back of the bunch. Literally as far back as you dare. If you are on the front and try and sprint, you will just look like a muppet because you ain't going to get a fast time. You ain't going to go quick. And generally, you'll have spent a whole load of watts for no reward because the fast boys are all going to be sat at the back giving it some big beans. So just keeping an eye here, Craig Genther dropping back here. Really interesting to see. Andy Singleton just tucked at the back. Tom Hagger is back here. Tom's got a good kick on him. I think we're going to see George Cooper go for it when it gets caught. He's got a nice run. He doesn't want to go rolling in too quick here. He can't afford to pull too far on. Looks like McCarthy's just with him at the moment. They can't afford to go too quick into this. They need to have some sliding room. They need room to run through the pack. If you go too early, you are in trouble. Now the sprint is on, so the big kick goes. This is when it counts. You've got to have some bodies to go through here. If you do, you're going to be able to motor. The sprinters come. It's about who can get the fastest time. Looks like Chris Cadham has got some serious watts coming out. I've just seen 12.5 from him. Looks like George is taking it steady. McCarthy's going. He went late there, but look at that. He's got a draft engaged as well. 19:10 was the fastest time. What's the fastest time going to be? We're going to see them coming in. Look at that. 14.76 from Dale Williams. So that has suddenly smashed 5 seconds off the top. Nicely done. Now the gang are doing an amazing job. Some really, really fast times. Tracy C, 24.32. Williams, 14.76. Mason, the fat cyclist, 15.56. It's Russ Downing in third place at 16.11. Dan Coleman, 16. Dan Coleman with a 16.12. Simon Booth then coming through with a 16.56. Looks like Gale coming in at 16.60, Canham 16.76, youngster Hudson coming through 16.78. Tim Cooper on a serious flyer at the moment, 16.87. Just keeping an eye on them, and you can really see some very, very fast times going out from the riders today. So congratulations on Tracy taking, of course, the green jersey this time around in the women's event. And that is the fastest time set at the moment. That includes all the other events that are actually on the world at the moment. There's quite a few fast events actually on tonight in terms of Rise On. Then there's quite a few riders using it as a warm-up for some of the racing that's coming up. Now, regroup time. 19 seconds from Beefy, Colin Bell of Cycleways, who's tucked just up here in the blue and yellow The beefy losing his traditional jersey a few weeks ago, in fact, nearly a month now, in support of Ukraine, foiled that blue and yellow. So here we go. Looks like Simon Booth has blown his tyre out, got a puncture on his way through. Might have been all that sprinting that's done it. That's done the damage. So Vin Donahoe, and they're just pushing his way up towards the front, just seeing Dale, the man who's taken that sprint jersey. He's got the fastest time on his way through the sprint time of everybody out on the world at the moment, and looks like this group just starting to pull together. So just seeing Singleton and Cooper just alongside Ayling at the moment. Ayling just dropping off the base now, so we'll leave them to it. I think we're just going to take a little bit of a look. So it looks like Singleton and Holmes just pushing their way up to get back in. Remember, Jimmy Allen holding that pace steady. It's a fair few riders, so you take a little bit of a look up the road, going in underneath the gantry in pursuit of that yellow beacon, who's just into the corner. So 2 laps complete, 1 lap to go. Not seen Matt Nunn, our official lap counter, actually in action just yet. So just having a little look. Mr. Booth has got a puncture. That's game over, I think. Mr. Holmes, though, just distance currently sitting at 2.3. Going to need a little bit of a hand. Ayling's gone. That's game over, I think, for Ayling at 1 watt per kilo. But Holmes still continuing to push here. So I think this group going to be, if Holmes can push into the back of this pack, he's going to be able to get on to the gang. And the riders just reforming at the yellow beacon. But as you can just see, as Holmes is pushing at nearly 3 watts per kilo here. He's desperately trying to get back on again. The gap, though, currently about 20 seconds. So Holmes now 4 watts per kilo, trying to chase down Singleton, trying to chase down the gang. So Jimmy just holding that bunch on yellow just to get everybody back together. This is why when we have a sprint, we have to have the pack working together, because it just blows people's legs apart. So here we go, squeezing on Holmes now, almost up to Singleton. There's a group just in front who are going to be able to pull him back up. It looks like Singleton and Cooper going to try and pull him up. Well, it looks like the banter is on. The blame for the really early one on the Epic KOM being thrown at Russ by Jimmy Allen, our yellow beacon. Not sure that's strictly true, but you never know. Here we go. Holmes is on his way now. He's pushing. Singleton just waiting for him with Cooper just up the road. He's really working hard here. He should get himself back into this. So let's watch this gang. The group just starting to come together. So it may well be that Cooper and Singleton are going to need a few more breadcrumbs coming back out of the pack. Jimmy holding that pack nice and tight at the moment. Holmes is pushing hard, but he can't get into this duo at the moment. That gap's not coming down much. I think they're going to need to back down a touch here, because he's just holding up 5 seconds. So Holmes to the Bolsover and Deer Street Cycling Club just trying to squeeze on. Come on, mate. Big push, last big push here. Get into those that duo. So it's Ben Holmes at the moment trying to close down the gap on Cooper and Singleton. They need to ease off. He's not going to get it. He's going to be burning a lot of energy trying to get onto the wheels at the moment. Here he comes now. So this will make 3. The trio then will have to try and close down the bunch. That bunch at the moment, absolutely amazing. If you look at them going off and away from the roundabout, it is on there. So as Jimmy says, we're at 2 watts kilo. So Ben, so give it full gas to come back. He's doing a great job here. Our Beacon is going to see him any second now. You got Cooper just going back. Just give that a little bit of a hand. So here we go. Now, 2 together, Holmes and Cooper picking up Singleton now. This makes 3. So now the charge is on. Cooper starts to open the throttle here. And these 3 riders work together. They're going to work the way up on to the gang. About 14 seconds, the difference now. What they've got to do is do this without blowing Holmes' legs off. So they've got to sit at a pace he can hold and can still get the draft. So it's all about making sure you keep an eye on those rear view mirrors. He's chased like a loon to get back on again. It looks like that gap is coming down. Currently at 12 seconds. He's got the draft in as well. So the gang's going to need to make sure they keep a view on him. Now you can see how that has its effect. It's pulling on towards the back wheel here. If we take a little bit of a view across, here he comes. He's just trying to get into the draft behind him. He'll be getting a little bit. Optimum draft is within 6 meters here. Now he's continuing to push. Craig Genther's gone back. Going to be another of the breadcrumbs to give him assistance to get back in again. Come on, Ben, keep it going, mate. He's going to crest now and then roll down this hill, so this is where you want to be picking up that pace with him. Tim Cooper just dropping back, easing off again. So this good ride here. Chris Ball giving the encouragement to his teammates. So last bit. And this is what the Chaingang's about, giving that support to our riders who are making the way in. This is it, the last big push in, and then they're going to have the gang pretty much back together again. So Ben just jumping in up front, and it's one of the good ways to do it actually is just drop behind the chasing rider and then just come back up and just go past them as steady as you can. And that helps pull them through. You can see Tim Cooper just coming through, just holding that pace nice and steady. If you go too quick, you lose the bodies. Now 4 bodies at the back. Singleton, our red beacon. Genther there. Cooper. Looks like we've got just coming back as well. Harper's gone back to help as well here. Brilliant to see now. This could going to be a decent sized pack pulling up now. You see Harper out the saddle. Starts to kick as well, bringing him on. Now what they've got to do is not drop the gang. This is where it pays. This is what we've got to do. It's about getting those breadcrumbs, that trail up there. You don't want somebody else snaffling them up. You've got to get there quick enough to use them. And just seeing Chris Lawless doing the same as well. Brilliant to see here. Then you can just see the process down the score. Bring that rider back on again. Whichever rider drop, and this is why it's really key to learn this skill on Swift. If you can do this on Swift, A, you can transfer it to real life, but B, if you're racing on Swift, it's really important to bring your teammates on. And that's what we're seeing. You can just see they're about to make their way up to Jimmy Allen. The front just getting a little bit twitchy. I think the very front of the group needs to just ease off that. Pedals just a touch. They're just about to make contact, but not quite there at the moment. So rear view mirrors, number 6 in your keys. Brilliantly done, and you can just see a great ride here. Ben Lawless doing, Ben Holmes just jumping on the back of Chris Lawless's wheel. So Chris at the moment just giving Ben the toe back in. Not sure I could even stay on Chris's wheel in real life, whether he's got a broken collarbone or arm or anything. Ben, no need to apologise in the slightest. That's what the chain gang is all about, looking after each other. Very easy to coming back. And I'm loving Chris Lawless's response. I'm so used to doing it with you, Russ. It's a doddle. Now, let's have a look. We're going to move our way up to our yellow beacon. The gang just about rolling its way in. You can't afford to lose that draft. Now, here we go. We're coming up on to the climb. So on to the climb they go. Lots of encouragement coming from Chris. Brilliant to see the riders coming in to the leg snapper once again. So this is all about conserving energy. It's all about not burning any extra watts. You're going to need them later. That is guaranteed. We have such fast riders. No more than 3 watts per kilo is the call from Jimmy. We're currently on 40 minutes of riding. Jimmy Allen sat in the middle of the group, just keeping an eye on them as they come up this climb. So Jim Flynn tucked in here. Looks like Mr. Mason in on a hilly ride as well. So good to see that we've got Gareth. Gareth's been coming back to his best once again. Again, going for a full on lightweight. So it's just about the lightest setup on Zwift at the moment. Chris Cadham on disc wheel. Interestingly, that's not necessarily a good move. Going to make life hard on the climb itself. You can always stop and change bikes, can be done. Got to be brave though to let the group go and do that, but once you've been dropped, definitely that'll be my option now. Tom Lindley just saving the energy. Look at this. Someone who's growing up on the Chaingang. Tom Lindley, 2.8 watts per kilo. Jimmy said 3, and this is 2.8 from Tom. Brilliant stuff. The other thing you want to know how it's done, watch the kids. So over the top we go, and now it's time to head to the KOM. So through the line we're going to go, and then on to the King of the Mountains live here on the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel. And you can see once again that leg snapper climb coming out. We do use the Innsbruck ring with that leg snapper climb as a route in its own right. It's a really tough day out of the office with the multiple laps. It's 5 laps. So when we just do that, it's 3 today. So when we get to the line, we then head up the climb up to the top of the KOM. So going to be really interesting to see how everybody responds once we go on to that big climb. Who's been saving their energy? Who burnt too much early on, being a hero? Are they going to end up going to a 0 on the way up? So it looks like Chris now pushing on. He's on his way. Andy Singleton part way back. So let's watch a pro at work on the way back here. Chris Lawless making his way through here. 144 beats per minute, 84 revs per minute, 350 plus watts, over 400 watts just going over the crest, going around that turn. Now on to the descent. Here he comes, 62, 63 kph. How fast can he get there? The red beacon is motoring it. Andy, I'm not sure. I'll be waiting, mate. He's going to come past you. Just to hold on to the bars, mate, because I think the blast that is going to come through. This is like a supersonic shockwave as Chris Lawless comes up on his wheel here, and Singleton's going to try and hang on to the wheels. He's going to be taking it easy on his recovery from COVID. He's old Andy Singleton, but look at this. Here we go. Through they go. Lawless comes through 6.1 watts per kilo. Being put out 7 watts per kilo from Singleton just to get onto the back of the wheel. So this is it. It's back to a yellow gang. Remember, this is fast. Permission to fly by, permission granted. It is the one and only Chris Lawless making his way at some pace. Absolutely motoring. It's not all that long ago. He was back nearly 30 seconds back on the back of the group. He's half that already, and he's coming at speed. So let's have a little look. Well, Russ is waiting for him. Russ, hope you got your afterburners on, mate. I think you've got your disc wheel on, knowing you. You have indeed. It's probably a good thing, because let's have a look. The rear view mirror is on for Russ. This is Russ's view. So we're watching exactly the same as Russ. Look at Russ pick it up really early here. He's not going to let them come past and catch him out here and get dropped. He starts to pick up that pace early. He's kicking it up to 53. kph at the moment. He's just got them coming. Lawless can see him. This is the gang motoring on now, so you can just see that pace from the gang, and here they come. They are absolutely shifting. So Lawless about to collect Downing on his way through here, taking him up into the group. They're working well. Downing, Lawless and Singleton, those are the three riders at the back coming in at speed. Absolutely brilliant stuff, and absolutely flying the way in there. You can just see easing off those pedals now as they come in. Lawless going to drop down. Russell, I think, carrying a lot of momentum on his way through there, and it could well be Jimmy Allen is going to be our last man on the road. So just going to take our run back down. So Jimmy in here. Great riding by them coming in. So this is going to be 3 laps complete as we hit the line this time. We're about to go past the pens, actually. So absolutely motoring here. So 3 watts per kilo, please, ladies and gentlemen, is the call. Andy Singleton, you did say, Andy, you were taking it easy tonight. We had that conversation, sir. Take it easy, buddy. We like you to shake your in, mate. So Jimmy tucked in to the group at the moment. All right, leader. Red Beacon tucked on the back. Alistair Cootie in here as well. Vin Donahoe, everybody back together again. Chris doing an amazing job tonight. It's great to have him on board. As Jimmy Allen leads them in, Jimmy will have in front of him the front of the group, and just rolling the way in to the gantry once again. Now, look at this. The bunch is all together. Everybody is going, nah, you know what? I just could have saved my legs. Let's not pay silly what's it. What's the point? So the gang is just all stuck together. Now, Ben, you're going to get company real soon, mate. I promise it. So heading into the KOM. The KOM is just over 7k long, 7.1k long. It's about 10k from here to the top of the climb. So the actual KOM is 7k. It's actually 10k of climbing to the top. Let's just very, very quickly attempt to throw you those details very quickly up. So it is 10.6 to the top, finish at 37.4. Right, back in with the gang. Jimmy looking like he's been very nice indeed and getting the gang all together. He's got a few people worried though, I suspect. Just on the way towards that climb, just seeing Alistair Cootie on this drag now. We take this sharp left-hand turn, and the go has gone in town. It's gone in town. The Wolf is feeling particularly vicious today. So let's see who is going to be on the front, who's going to be leading this out. Looks like Downing has got off the front. Well, there's a surprise. He's very much up for this, and this is going to be a very entertaining indeed. You can just see Jimmy Allen sat in with this group. We're up with the helicopter at the minute, 50 minutes of riding almost done, and they're on to the climb. They're continuing to push. as they come up and through, and it really is looking good. We've got a long way to go. We've got 10k just about to go. 9k at the moment, in fact, to go. So it is going to be 9 kilometers to get into the top. They're pushing. Genther winds it up. He's gone up to the front. We've got Dale Williams now sat around Jimmy Allen, and the back of this group is starting to fracture. Lawless goes up to the front as well. Now Lawless, remember, he's injured at the moment, broken bones for Lawless, but is he going to go for an Ed Clancy style seated power surge? Now Singleton starting to roll back in. He's going to have some company here, Beefy, Sean Ferron and gang. Looks like the bus is forming. So riders are now scattered down the bottom. You can see Cullen on the gang. Singleton just rolling back, so he's going to run back through. The gang on the front continue to push Doubtry up here, and looks like Hayward on a bit of a mission, just going over the side here of Finney. So Hayward just going past Finney, and then it's Cooper just behind Bobby Mason. A couple of seconds up the road. Langmead up the way, as long as looks like Tracy and Donahoe are together. The duo on the way through, just watching Billy No Mates continue to push on. Gailey in here as well. Johnson in here. Wharfdale Phil pushing, and I think this really has opened up, and I'm not sure that we haven't got an attack from our yellow beacon. Just going to take a run up the road. Is it going to be Jimmy Allen who's gone up the road? It is, and he's got company in the shape of Dale Williams as well. Oh, that's an interesting move. That slight dip into this climb. It's now 7k climb to the top, and at the moment Dale Williams has gone really early, maybe getting himself some sliding room for when the real lightweight climbers go. Williams has got some phenomenal power though. They've opened a 4-second gap, and that falls flat into that section. Really tough, because as you come out of the roundabout, it feels like it should be uphill. It's actually downhill. It's just not as downhill as the roadway that you've just left that's below you. And that is when things get really interesting. So it is going to be interesting to watch all our riders on here. But we're going to run our way up to the very front of the group, where we've got an attack on from Dale Williams. Russ said he's going to blow. Well, he may well do. But this is, in fact, he just has, where things get interesting, because Jimmy Allen has just forced everybody to work to close that gap down. Coleman now goes on the front, but it looks to me like it's going to be Russ going off the front now. So Downing is putting in an early attack here. Now he sits back up again at 4.2. Who is going to respond? Is anybody going to take the bait? Or is the bear going to be left to play up at the front? Behind, it looks to me like Hudson is the one leading the charge behind. So Harry Hudson, another of our great young talents here on Zwift, are pushing hard to try and close that gap down. And he's got some serious revs as Hudson. Let's just drop in with him. Yeah, look at that. It's just sitting up at 90 revs per minute. Now goes over the top, and Hudson has gone on the front. Now Hudson puts in a bigger kick. He just went in to that red zone. Can he get a gap? Can we see a response? Are we going to see a real kick to get back on again, or has Hudson gone too soon? As we come in to these hairpins, we've got some real nasty gradients coming up. It goes up to 11 and 12% in places as you come in, and this is going to be a little bit of a breather. Then it's going to kick again, then it'll ease again. It's not a consistent same gradient climb all the way up here. It really does vary. So at the moment, Harry Hudson with the gap. He's opening this gap up well, currently at 7 seconds back to Coleman. And this is where things are going to be interesting. Who can respond to this? John Wild is experienced hand at this. He's played the game for so long now. One of our regular riders from VeloViewer with those fantastic graphics. Make sure you jump onto the VeloViewer site and grab a hold of the Pro membership. It gives you so much. You can dial in courses. You get great stats. It's all powered by Strava, of course. Now taking a look at Chris Lawless takes up on to the back wheels. Hudson at the moment is at 5.2 0.5 watts, 6 watts per kilo. We're looking back. They're just holding this powder dry. Now, Lindley at the moment just distanced a little bit, just being careful here. He's sat with Russ Downing. Is Lindley going to be able to squeeze back in? He knows the dangers of going too early. Right on his heels is Booth, who's riding with a puncture somehow actually staying with them. Neil from the crosscast tucks in as well. So Neil just about in touch with this leader group that are chasing our solo ride leader. So at the moment it is Harry Hudson in 1. Then it's the group with the riders currently Downing, Wild in 2, Varty in 3, Coleman in 4. It's going to be Tatchell Waller in 5, Booth in 6, Downing in 7, Lindley in 8, Lawless in 9, Neil from the crosscast in 10, Finley Hudson, who I think is brother of Harry, is currently in 11. It's going to be George Cooper, I think, in 12. Rob Taylor in 13. 14 at the moment is Mason. 15 is Pillsworth. 16 Woodall. 17 Bale. 18 Sadler. 19 Runnett. 20 Raccoon. 21 is Forbes. 22 is the Yellow Beacon Jimmy Allen. 23 Pearson. 24 Higer. 25 Conley. That's at the moment Rob Wimble in that group, but right up at the front, Harry Hudson at the moment is continuing to extend his gap. The youngster from Matlock CC, a rider who has ridden really regularly on some of the real tough hill climbs by the look of it, currently going well. A rider who rode the National Hill Climb for Matlock, currently with the gap. So, someone who knows how to climb. The 14-year-old lives in race for the Matlock squad, absolutely pinging at the moment. Great to see this youngster really starting to hand it to the riders behind. At the moment, it looks like Wild and Co. currently 16 seconds down. The gap has gone. Can they close that gap down? That's going to take some doing at the moment, because the gaps have really opened out. Chris Lawless reckons he's dead. You're not, mate. It's just Donny Chaingang ripping you apart. Now, let's have a little bit of a look. Hudson leading 22 seconds back on Wild in 2. Varty in 3. Tatchell Waller in 4. Coleman in 5. Right on heels. Lindley is in 6. Lawless in 7. Downing in 8. There's Booth in 9, Genther in 10. I think Neil from the crosscast in 11. Then it's going to be Finley Hudson currently in 12th place. The rotating round here in Bale. Took nicely inside the top 20 as well. So some great riding up at the front here. And you can just see Varty trying to respond to this attack by Hudson. He's got 16 seconds. Sounds a lot. It's not. And that is quite simply because that gap could soon be pulled down. It eases here, and this is where the group has an advantage. When that gradient drops, the speed goes up. That's true at the very top of this climb as well. Lindley a bit further back. Lawless and Downing just coming on to this section as it levels. A bit further back behind them. Looks like Neil from Crosscaster trying to make his way across. The gritty man moving his way up and forwards. Don't get Gritty, of course, extra discount as well for the Chain Gang, members of the DCG gang at the moment. So Hudson currently on what is going to be 19 seconds. The pace is pretty hot behind, trying to charge into the gap behind him. And it's going to be John Wild now. The group now onto the 8% section. And it's Wild again pushing on here. He's got Varty and Coleman in his wheel tracks behind him. Tatchell Waller's on a great ride here. Darryl Tatchell Waller, one of our regular performers. Just not quite got that win yet. But certainly another faster day for Darryl. He's just pushing on here from Coleman. He can just see that Wild and Varty just continue to try and keep that gap down. But Hudson's put another 3 seconds in. He's out to 19 seconds at the moment. He's just making his way up through this turn, one of the steepest sections. You know, you've got this long, gradual section of climb coming up. There's another couple of kicks, but at the very top of the slope, it eases substantially. Our riders are now scattered, all of the riders on the slopes of the KOM. Our leaders about halfway up the climb. Lawless at the moment. Billy No Mate's sat a little bit further back. Looks like Russ just squeezing onto the heels of Lindley. Lindley's got Coleman in his sights. Now looks like they've just re-dropped now from the cross. Gus Neal just continues to push on. He's got Hudson behind him. And then it's going to be George Cooper, Rob Taylor, Ian Bale, Greg Pillsworth. Looks like Mason Sadler, Runnett, Wardle, Forbes, Watson, Hagger, as well as Jimmy Allen. And apparently the bus has formed at the back. With the length of this climb, we may even have time to go see the bus. The bus has formed. Mr. Flynn and Mr. Singleton at the back of the group, and they are going to be chasing their way back on. Andy Singleton, of course, one of our regular riders, along with Jim Flynn. So the entire gang spread out over the space of about 4.5 minutes or so. They're going to take a little bit of a run up the road, because you can just see those gaps are definitely extended with Wild now at 16 seconds. So are they going to be able to pull him back? Did he go too hard too soon? If you look up at the map, there is a sharp right turn and a sharp left coming up. I might have to do it on our 3D. Just take the right hand turn and a sharp left kicker. That is tough stuff on the way through. That is when things get interesting. Now we're on to 9%. Varty squeezes on again. Yo-yo his way up here. Hudson back up to 18 seconds at the moment. So the youngster continues to push behind. The mountains are opened up. And the hill climb specialist here showing just way so fast uphill. He's got the gap. At the moment it's Varty in 2. Tashel Waller in 3. Wild in 4. Sorry, Wild in 3. Varty in 4. Lindley in 5. So Tashel Waller, Varty and Wild are basically locked together in that second chasing group. Then it is Lindley behind in 5th place, with Coleman in 6th. Down in 7th. Genther in 8, Lawless in 9, Booth in 10, and Neil from the Crosscast in 11th place. He's got company from Tim Cooper, currently 12th place, and then it's going to be Finley Hudson. He's in 13th, with Rob Taylor in 14th. Hudson at the moment continuing to push on. This chasing a group of 3 riders continue to try and squeeze that gap down. Tashel Waller just pushing. It goes down that right hand side once again. Hudson though with the gap, continuing to keep those revs high, still sitting at just under that 90 revs per minute mark. Just a change of gear there as he goes on to the 9%, 10% section now, and this is where it gets steep once again. So Hudson continuing to try and push that gap out. Varty desperate to try and drop Tashel Waller. So John Wild behind, then Lindley, then Genser. The gaps really have opened up as we come up onto the climb. Russ currently sitting inside the top 10, just being passed there by Chris Lawless, and Russ suddenly responds to that one. So Coleman just jumping back on in. This is one of the easiest sections here. Goes from 1% coming in, and then you go into these turns. Sharp left-hand turn coming up, and it kicks again. So this group now coming back into that steeper section on the other side of the chicane there. The gaps still holding at the front though. Hudson is well paced up here. It's certainly got the gap on them. The yellow beacon just a bit further down, currently sitting on a 10% section of slope. Wilson on a 9%. Dale Williams, the man who took that sprint jersey, he's currently on 11% section. It really is tough stuff up this climb. And you can just see everybody stretched out here as Harry Hudson continues to open that gap up on the rows behind. 20 seconds now. Then the Matlock youngster back to Rob Varty. 24 seconds, in fact, just yo-yoing as we go over these sections of gradient. You can see the Alps behind as we come up here, but it's certainly looking good. Hudson with the gap. Then it's Tatshawala, Varty, and then Wild, who has lost contact with second and third place at the moment. He's being chased down for that fourth place. It's Lindley right on his heels at the moment. Lindley with a gap back to Genther. You can't see Craig Genther in view, but Genther has people coming as well. You've got another of the riders in that Downing cycling kit. It's Russ Downing himself who is chasing the nearest rider to Genther. Then it's going to be Lawless a little further back with Booth, not all that far off him. Neither is Dan Coleman. Looks like Tim Cooper just starting to shed Neil from the crosscast. Then it's going to be Finley, Hudson, Ian Bell, Rob Taylor, Greg Pillsworth, Simon Runnett. It's going to be Sadler, Woodall, and then Jimmy on our yellow beacon, but right up at the front. Harry Hudson is really starting to stretch this out. So the youngster well and truly getting this right so far. No sign of cracking as he makes his way up here. So look at that heart rate, 190 beats per minute from Hudson. If we drop back at Tatshawala, 185, that's phenomenal. Lindley, 187 is going to be Wild. And so just taking a little bit of a look, is this George who's here? It is George who's coming up on the hill, sorry, rather than Tim. So George, keep it going past Neil from Crosscast. Apologies, George. Just know you can climb better than your dad. So George on his way up here, Tim dropping out with tech issues. So George Cooper, another of our youngsters, absolutely phenomenal rider. Love Russ Scott, thought he was going well. Yeah, he's almost going as well as George, oddly enough. So Hudson in 1, Varty in 2, Tatshawala in 3, and Tatshawala just goes over the top of Varty there, and Varty has to respond to that. Wild continues to push. He's got Lindley for company. Then it's going to be Genther ahead of Booth, Coleman, Downing, and Lawless just on their heels. Cooper's going to make contact as well, I suspect. Then it's Neil from the crosscast, Ian Bell, Finley, Hudson, Taylor, Pillsworth, Runnett, Sadler, Woodall, and then Jimmy Allen. So that gap now over 30 seconds coming up past the construction site. Every time you come back, if you haven't been in for a while, the building site on our left basically keeps on getting bigger and bigger. The site gets more developed each time we come past. I remember when that was naught but grass and fields, I tell you, lad. It was grass and fields first time I came up there. Now it's a proper building like. So, Hudson now, 4%. That building's always a good sign because the gradient eases. Suffering like a dog up this last little bit up onto here, then it all of a sudden feels much, much better. Hudson, though, he's not suffering at all. He's more greyhound than suffering dog. I tell you, he's absolutely flying up here. And the rider with the Rovers gone for lightweight kit. Not got the Mellensteins on, but still light wheels on a rider who really can push on the climb. 300 metres to go for Harry Hudson. Now he puts in the feather. He's been saving it for now. Well, he's not going to need it. The gap is huge. 49 seconds. The youngster comes up here. He takes on the rest of the Donny Chaingang. He's going to be our first rider in and through the line as he comes in to the finish show. Harry Hudson, last push up here. What time will he set as he comes in to the line? Harry Hudson, first rider through under the line. The time for Hudson, 17 minutes. 29 seconds, a phenomenal time on the way through. Gets the fastest time up there at the moment. Behind, you can see this is going to be a real battle. You've got Darryl Tatshawala and Rob Varty. Now Varty goes into sprint mode. He's opening this up. He's gapped Daryl Tattershaw Waller's not giving up. He's still going at just under 8 watts per kilo, but I think it's going to be Varty who's going to take the next spot as Tattershaw Waller tries to keep that gap down. Rob Varty's going to take second place. He's going to wonder what could have been if it wasn't for those pesky kids. It's Harry Hudson who takes it on and takes the win. Varty in second place. Tattershaw Waller comes through in third place behind John Wilde. Opening this up, he's going to push the gap out onto Lindley here. So it's Hudson in 1, Varty in 2, Tattershaw Waller in 3. It's going to be John Wilde who's going to take 4th place. Lindley is going to take 5th place. So Tom Lindley taking a 5th place here today. He's got a decent sized gap. It's going to be 6th place for Craig Genther. So Genther once again putting in a great performance here and continues to push his way up to the top. It's going to be a 6th place as he comes in through the line behind those. 7th and 8th is not decided. It's Coleman currently in 7th, Booth in 8th, Cooper in 9th. With Downing in 10th, or should I say the other way round at the moment. That's going to be a real sprint between those riders. So Genther comes in and through the line. Great ride by Craig Genther. He comes through taking 6th place. 7th place is Coleman. He's got a couple of seconds, I think, on Booth. It should be just about enough, or is it? Ah, look at this. Here he comes. Booth motoring his way up here. He must be ripping that tire to shreds. On the turbo. Oh my God, it swapped over real quick, got back on again. So it is going to be Booth who's going to be our next rider in through. Booth goes through, chase to the line. Coleman makes it in underneath the gantry. He's ahead of Russ Downing. Downing is going to be in front of George Cooper. George taking the spot directly in front of Chris Lawless. A massive thank you to Chris Lawless coming along today, helping out so much at the back, as well as being right up on the front. Amazing job done by Chris there. A 2012 time for him. Nobody within the same minute as Harry Hudson, though. No surprises there. Now, Neil from the Crosscast from Gritty, going to be our next rider in. Don't forget Gritty with extra discount as well for members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club that keeps the show on the road. So if you fancy supporting the gang, last time of this spring, then don't forget, jump on. Now, it is a long run down to the blue banner, just to give you a nice run down and get you extra drops points on the way through. Good riding here by Finley coming in. Finley Hudson, our next rider in through the line. He's ahead of Taylor. Keep those legs spinning, Finley. You need to get that roll down done. You'll see all the riders doing it. It's all about making sure you get those legs spun out with big run in, then a really tough day at the office as Taylor goes through, followed by Pillsworth. Then is going to be a run it. So Chris Law's doing an amazing job. The gang coming in behind him here now, and Chris showing some real class going and helping those riders behind. Time to spin the legs down once you get in and through the gantry. So next up will be Simon, a.k.a. Sean, a.k.a. Simon, heading in to the finish. He's got that little bit of a gap. He just holds it clear of Sadler. Sadler has got the gap on Jimmy Allen. Jimmy making his way in, and great leading once again by Jimmy. Thank you very much, Jimmy. Our yellow beacon for the day. We will have a chat with Jimmy once he's a little bit further down the hill. We'll let him get his breath back. So dropping the way down, and next it's going to be a Woodall behind him. Then it's going to be Hagger. Hagger's on the way through. So a Woodall goes through the line. Hagger's our next rider. Then it's going to be Forbes, Watson, Wimble and Pearson. So Jimmy just about managing to get enough breath to type as we see Tom Hager making his way in underneath the gantry. Comes through just ahead of James Forbes. James with a bit of a gap to Rocket Raccoon. That is Andy Watson on his way through. So Forbes makes it in. Then it's going to be Watson behind Raccoon, followed by Wimble. So Rob Wimble on next, rider heading in to the finish. Nicely colour coordinated bike, rims and kit there from Rob. Just the helmet, letting it down. Needed an orange cap on that, mate. As they go in to the line, it's going to be a Wimble just in front of Wilson. Wilson still absolutely flying on some serious form at the moment. Then it's going to be a Pearson. Pearson's going to come through ahead of Malin. So Mr. Pearson, Jamie Pearson, one of our regulars, following Steve Wilson, Rob Wimble over the line. Then it's going to be Paul Malin, who's going to come in just ahead of Chris Ball from Bolsover. Then it's going to be Martin Conley. And then it's going to be our green jersey. It should be Dale Williams just a little bit further down the slope. So Dale approaching the top of the climb here, making his way in, giving us a wave as well. One man I'm not sure who had the strength to wave at this stage was Jimmy Allen, our beacon. Jimmy, could you have managed to wave?
Wave? No chance, mate, no. I'm doing a good job of sweating.
I bet it was... It's quite cold outside, but I bet everybody's probably got their own microclimate going at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely warm up in it. I had to call my wife in emergency power on fan, cool me down. I do run a bit hot though, to be fair. But yeah, good one again, wasn't it? I think thanks Chris Lawless, really helping out. He can have a free membership for forever for that work.
I tell you something, it shows you just who the class riders are, doesn't it? Because it's not about them. It's about the whole ride. It's about they can see that big picture, and that is what we look for.
Exactly, and we've always said, don't we? There's plenty of other events where you can thrash yourself for 20, 40, 60 minutes from start to end, should I say? And this one's got its own character. You know, where we look after each other and get a good quality 20-minute session or whatever it is, 20, 25-minute session at the end and have a bit of fun. I think that's why people keep coming back. And, yeah, it's good to see everybody enjoying it, I think, again. Some good comments coming up.
Yeah, some good comments, and I'm sure we're going to see some personal best power outputs on the way through, some personal records coming through with that mountaintop finish. And very much in contrast to the ride on Thursday when Russ is back at the helm, oddly enough, when it's a crit.
Yeah, he loves a crit, doesn't he? That's his bread and butter. Yeah, I'll not be here though. I mean, just a shame. I'm going to Isle of Man. But to be honest, looking at course, I'm not bothered. I'm going to play a bit of golf instead, do something a bit more sedate.
Well, it's I think, to be fair, it's of all the crit courses, and I've ridden them all on Zwift quite extensively. I have to say, I think the one on Neokio is probably the hardest by some margin because it's just got lots of long drags in there. It's a big crit, it's almost a mess rather than a crit, isn't it?
To be honest, Matt, I've not done that one, so I'll take your word for it. But I can picture what you're talking about if it's the course I'm thinking about. But I've not actually done it. Yeah.
Don't do it. Big cake. So we climb up through the castle grounds. We drop off the other side. We've then got a big drag out on the far side of the circuit, and a couple of those. So it's not close to flat. It's not close to short, and it hurts a lot more, I think, than the traditional one. So. I guess you can probably get your own back and watch them all in action with a pint in the bar at the Isle of Man after a round back in the clubhouse.
That sounds like a plan. I'm going to say whenever I see the word crit, I run a mile. So I learned a long time ago, crits are not for me. So whether it's virtual or real life, I don't care.
Yeah, whether it's e-cycling or whether it is real life, crits are their own form of torture. And this takes a special rider, that's for sure. And there's plenty of special riders on the Chaingang. But Jimmy, absolutely awesome job as always. Thank you very much for leading again tonight, and of course chatting live on air on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. Enjoy the Isle of Man, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Cheers, everybody. See you next week at some point.
So great to catch up with Jimmy Allen as we see Bobby Mason, Chris Canham going over the line, being followed by Caitlin. Then it's going to be our first female over the line today. It is Tracy Seeley, Terminator 2.0 on the pin around Dogma on those deeper rims as well. Takes the KOM jersey as well as the sprint. And I think Finn Donahoe having to do a bit of beasting of Tracy on the way up that climb. To absolute superstars, and don't forget you can get in touch with them or Keith Richardson, the guys that are meeting up in real life and heading out. Details on the Facebook page, make sure you jump on there. Carl Johnson just on the descent with Wharfdale Phil, and then it's going to be Shaw followed by a Lona Ryder who's going to be just in front of Billy No Mates just behind. So Billy and No Mates and Lone Rider go through. Then it's going to be Alistair Cootie, who's just on the section of climb, just coming where it levels coming after those buildings, which is a really nice part to be on because it feels so much better. So our riders coming up to the top of the slopes here. Time for me to do a little refresh while Mr. Cootie makes his way up here. The OT in being used extensively today, I have to admit. So Alistair Cootie now starting to make his way into those last few 100 metres out the saddle, putting a bit of a dig in. You see those power numbers coming up. This starts to wind it out, keeps that momentum rolling. It's 2% here. It hurts like heck if you're pushing up here at the end of the climb. And then you've got that great run down off the other side where basically you're just amassing points. Remember, points make levels in Zwift, which means that you then can buy better kit. And we all have extra kit in our garage, let's face it, or to be able to ride. As Cootie goes through, we'll just drop back to Andy Scotland. We've got Keith Hayward, Ken Kerrigan, Andy Singleton, Sean Ferrin, Jim Flynn and Ben Holmes on the way up the climb. Well, good to see that riders who are not on the radar watching in the not too far away on the virtual world. We might see them as avatars. We do them as real people regularly as well. Sarah Grimshaw just getting to watch from the sidelines today, but good to see that Miss Cookie supporting the Chaingang, even when she's not jumping on the bike, which is great to see. Don't forget, of course, make sure you jump onto the Facebook page as well. Loads of banter, lots of catching up for everybody on there. We have our next Chaingang. Well, that is Thursday. We are in Neokyo. We're on the Neokyo Crit course, a really nasty, tough course, and one of those courses that really is deeply, deeply unpleasant. I'm selling it well, aren't I? It's deeply, deeply unpleasant, and everybody loves it, even though I actually like to ride on it. But it is a tough course, so the run in will be nice and steady, no doubt, and then it will ramp up, and once the go happens, as always, the limits are off, the gloves are thrown away, and everybody is at it all the way to the finish, and it's going to be a fast and furious set of laps around there. Don't forget, if you want a heads up on where we're heading, the members of the DCG gang, well, guess what? They know where we're heading, which routes we're heading out. The greatest hits of the last couple of years as chosen by Russ for the month. So Russ picking the routes all month. spared my weird and wonderful courses as Andy Scullin comes in to the line. Andy now about to hit that downhill, and it comes pretty much as soon as you go through the gantry, which is always pleasant. Behind then, Keith Hayward coming through in that very distinctive pink and blue Zwift kit there. So Keith continuing on on that Tron bike, another of our regulars on the Donny Chaingang right from the start, and great to see he is still riding just as strongly, a cracking rider, and always good to see Keith in action. Hold on, Keith. Keith coming through just ahead of Ken Kerrigan. Ken, of course, another regular rider on the Chaingang on that Pinarello with those lightweight DT Aero wheels on there. And Ken from Chefrec making his way up. And the Chefrec squad, of course, deeply involved in the Sheffield Grand Prix. Looking forward to being on the mic for that in real life. A little bit further down the hillside, though, you can just see we've got Sean Ferrum, we've got Andy Singleton and Jim Flynn, the boss in action. Ben Holmes continuing to push. He's got some serious watts per kilos coming out here. As Ben, you can just see on the map view, top right-hand side. Don't forget, if you use Swift, if you're ever riding it, you can just click onto that. If we click it with our mouse, you can see we can get the zoomed in, the zoomed out, and the 3D version. It works the same. If you've got a touchscreen device, you can literally just touch the button. That will move your map through those 3 modes. A key part of it is that zoom in, zoom out. Really good to work out where you are and who is around you. And always handy when you are the boss driver himself, and that is Andy Singleton, a really experienced rider and racer on Zwift, one of the key people who has helped us so many times on the Chaingang. Good to see Andy coming back into riding again. A very strong red beacon. I'm not sure which bit of taking it easy he did tonight. I'd like my fast times to be like Andy's taking it easy tonight, to be honest, but you know, such is life. Andy working well, just keeping an eye on all of our riders. Lots of encouragement coming from him. So we've got Sean Ferret. Sean, another of our regular riders, is going to be sprinting his way in at the finish. The aero helmet doing nothing but hanging over the back of the shoulders and irritating in between the shoulder blades. Good for scratching your back when you've got an itchy back. So Andy, Jim and Sean are just going to be coming into awards where it levels and starts to ease off. Basically coming in towards that building site section that's gradually becoming that bigger building. Going to take a little bit of a run, a little further back down the road there. So Holmes just coming in. He's got one more steep kicker really to go, and that is just coming in front. He levels a little in front of him, and then it'll kick once again just where they are, and then it eases. So it is that last straight run in. You can see that just that last steep step coming up for Holmes in front. But our riders are riding well today here in Innsbruck on Zwift. All the coverage on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. Don't forget, make sure you give us a subscribe on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel for all of the Chaingang coverage. You can go back and look through all of the routes and all of the coverage of the men's and women's DCG, the Open DCG open to everybody, and the WOW DCG, the women only Wednesdays, Donny Chaingang, oddly enough, on a Wednesday. So take a little bit of a run up the road. Here comes the building site. My key point to sprint for this is absolutely nowhere because I don't got anything left normally. But if you have got anything left, then coming out of the building site is quite a long way out, to be brutally honest. It's when you can start winding it up, and it depends if you're going for the flat out sprint. Personally, I like to leave it to the 100 metres go point because that's pretty all I've got left at this stage for a little kick. And the riders are riding well at the moment, and Andy Singleton just making sure he's breaking into that breeze. Remember, of course, the aero advantage bit of being second or third wheel, absolutely critical when it goes really fast, but it is also really good for when you're going up now. Andy Singleton just getting the advantage of taking the sprint jersey from the as the riders climb off in front. Ben Holmes on his way up here. Ben's not all that far behind. You can just see he's just looking at that building site as well. So Scullin and Kerrigan on the descent. Looks like Ferrin and Singleton going to be sprinting this out, but watch out for Jim Flynn. Jim, one of our quick sprinters, just making his way up here. He's on quite a aero bike as well. It should accelerate and cut through the air quite nicely. It's quite quick at the top. That gradient not severe. You can just see Jim on that 1%, and it does ease over the top, which just makes life just that little bit easier. These three coming back together once again. So it is Ferrin in the light blue with the grey arrow helmet, and the dodgy faded, been through the wash too many times map kit. And that is going to be Andy Singleton, and then it's Ben Holmes a little further back in the grey. I have to say, of all of their kit, it is my least favourite colour scheme, the dead fish salmon colour and the faded shuts. It looks like you've let me loose on the washing, basically. That's what it looks like in our house. If you let me loose on the washing too many times, all your clothes will look like this. Having said that, that is the capital choice that I have a habit of wearing when I'm out on Zwift. Now, are we going to see all three holding hands together over the line, or are we going to see a sprint out of our three musketeers? So look at that, we've got a ho-go-go. So let's see now, this is it, kick for the line. Well, there's no kidding about who's got this. Who's going to be able to kick on here? I suspect all three have got sore legs here. There's still a way out. That is mean there, because it's 300 metres to go at the next sign here. So 300 metres to go at this sign. Wait for the 200 metre marker, mate, because at 200 metres you can kick it again. Let's have a little look. Well, you go for the 100 metre mark, which is always my favourite point, because it's like no time at all to get tired. Here we go. Now we see Jim Flynn puts the first dig in, but Sean Ferrin goes over the top. Sean, one of our real quick sprinters. And you can just see the revs there up at 125 coming out from Sean Ferrin as he went up and over the top, gets putting in repeated kicks. Just keep those revs nice and high. He's going to come in and through the line. Great riding by Sean. He comes in just clear of Jim Flynn. Jim in the run into the line. Great riding by both our riders here. And got to say massive thanks to Andy, who has been spinning his way up to the top of the climb. Our red beacons, of course, all volunteering into that role. It's one of the most rewarding roles in the chain gang, and it is a great one for our rider to go through. Jim Flynn got crab. Mate, spin it out quick. Don't sit there and suffer. Get those legs spinning. So Jim Flynn just now got to ease his legs with the grab. Andy Singleton on to the descent. Massive thank you to Andy and all of our red beacons all the way through the last couple of years, doing an amazing job. A role that has been refined all the way through, and doing an amazing job. So thank you very, very much. As our rider, the man who has had his own personal chaperone in the shape of Chris Lawless. You don't get a domestic much better than that. So Ben Holmes on his way in to the line here. He's going to round out our coverage here for the night. Did an amazing job. We've got to say a massive well done to Ben, and keeping that power down all the way up onto the top. Don't forget, Ben, from the top, you can ease off, you can soft pedal, you can put your hands on your hips, your feet on the handlebars, and drink the OT recovery drink or whatever tipple you fancy, because once you get over the top here, that is the official part of the ride. Then we have a longer warm down today to get our riders in and through the warm down, putting through that blue banner. Ben Holmes coming up to the line for the Bolsover and District Cycling Club. Quite possibly the best cycling club in the business, I would say that, remember. So Ben Holmes comes in and through, now starts to make his way down on to the descent here in Innsbruck. And that just leaves me to say, don't forget guys, give me a follow. It's Matt Fix the Pain on your Facebook, on Zwift and on Strava. Don't forget, of course, to give Russ a follow, and of course jump on the Chain Gang pages on Facebook as well. We will be back on Thursday with Russ at the driving seat as Yellow Beacon. In the meantime, don't forget, still time to subscribe and pick up all of those discounts that we are getting you to say thank you for being a member of the DCG gang, keeping the show on the road. 3.5 weeks left till the summer break from me, Matt Payne. Enjoy yourselves. Maybe see you down at Pies tomorrow. If not, we'll catch you on Thursday for the next Donny Chaingang live here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel.